everyone. I assume everyone can hear my voice. Can you please comment on the chat box so that I can make sure that everyone can listen to me? Great. So let's just give one more minute and then we can start with the session. All right. So first of all, I would like to thank everyone who has taken initiative to join this call. I really welcome you all. And before I kick start, I hope everyone can see the screen, everyone can listen to the audio. Can you please comment on the chat box if everything is working fine? I see that there are options for audio it's working fine. Great. So first of all, congratulations to all of you who have got the chance to register for Grace Hopper Celebration 2020. And I think most of you know what Grace Hopper stands for, but if I ever has to describe it, I always say it's like a celebration of women in computing. And it's one of the biggest conference where you can attend and you can meet 30,000 technologists who are just dedicated in computing industry. Directly jumping upon the context of this call. So before maybe jumping on the context, I would like to introduce myself, like who is this random person who organizes this seminar and how it might help you. So my name is Sakshi Dubey. I'm currently working as a software engineer in Honeywell. And as most of you, I did my bachelor's and master's in computer sciences. And I did my master's from University of Florida. And 2 years back, when I was graduating, I realized what is this Grace Hopper, which every woman, every LinkedIn, every Facebook platform has been talking about. And from that time onwards, I came to realize the importance of Grace Hopper, and I have been attending it from GHC 18, 19, and now in 20. So when I was in my final year, I came to know about this Grace Hopper celebration. I also attended another career fair conferences like TEPIA conference, Society of Women Engineering, Grace Hopper. And the first time I attended this conference, I realized that it's not actually a conference, but it's like a great career fair where you can meet a lot of people, get a lot of job opportunities, and the journey went on. I went in 2019 as from my company Honeywell to recruit the people like you. And this year again, I'm going to meet and recruit people like you. So directly, and please feel free to interrupt me in case I'm speaking too fast, and feel free to write your questions. I do have 5 minutes in the end so that I can take all of your questions. And I've been taking questions for the past couple of days, so I have a list as well. So jumping on that, since we have like 15 days left for the Grace Hopper, then how should we target our strategy? Many of you might have seen my Medium article where I've described the 60-day plan, and I'm pretty sure some of you must be very confident in doing the lead code. Some of you are still like reaching that level. But in general, I see there are a lot of participants that are still joining. Thank you very much for joining. But right now I see that there is a lot of confusion. People are very much not sure that how this virtual factor which will affect this time. So starting from the 15-day strategy, if you talk with people that what is most important in a career fair, what is most important in an interview, the very first question that comes to you is lead code. Do as much as you can and it will land you a job. This is pretty much true. But when you're going to a conference of 3 days, and I'm sorry, it's not even 3 days, it's like 8 hours day 1, 8 hours day 2, and I think 6 hours day 3. In total, around 24 hours. How can you maximize your output from those 3 days? It's more of a strategy that how can you nail it? I've seen people who have done 300 plus late code questions and just struggling a lot to get a job. I've seen people who have just done 50 to 60 lead code questions and they just nailed their first job interview. And in no ways I'm discouraging you to stop doing lead code, but my only point is that lead code is definitely the top most important thing, but you need to brush some more things, which is way more important when you're pitching an interview. Okay, so I've made a little notes, and so I'm trying to like go within the time limit. We still have like 25 minutes, so we'll try to cover one by one. Coming to the conference preparation. So right now in 15 days, I know some of you must be very confident right now. Some of you must be struggling right now. I would recommend you focus on the easy lead code questions because uh, that's great, say, in case you get an interview. But you just have 5 minutes when you're speaking to a recruiter to impress them. And you have to do some kind of magic when you're talking to that recruiter so that that person feels like this person has a potential to work in my organization. So that's why I really emphasize them that focus more on preparing your resume, focus more on what you've described, and in preparing your elevator pitch. Because the lead code, the technical questions, everything comes at the end. The very first interaction is your that 5 minute elevator pitch that you do. So right now, it's 15 days left. There's just a small to-do list. Has everyone registered their resume in the database? Any 3, 4 yes in the chat box? Great. Update your resume in the database. Put a very clear objective on your LinkedIn that what are you looking for? Because these days recruiters just check your LinkedIn, they have hardly a minute to spend on your profile. So just make sure that you have a very clear objective written, looking for internship for summer 2021, looking for full-time job, graduating in December 2020. Things like that. So they are very clear. And if you, I'm assuming that most of you must be looking for suite, but if not, if you're not looking for software developer, if you're looking for data scientist, you're looking for program manager, be very specific in your objective. And I would recommend in resume as well, but please do this in your LinkedIn profile. Follow most hashtags, hashtag GHC20, because there are many companies who have already started their hunt. They have pre-scheduled the interviews. And if you're attending it, make sure that you follow that hashtag and just write in your profile GHC20 so that in case recruiters are finalizing listing, they know that you are attending and the chances are better that they will catch you for an interview, or maybe talk will start that, hey, I'm attending GSC, or you two are attending GSC, can you please forward me resume? So these are some pre-steps that needs to be done to make a connection with the recruiter before the conference. I assuming the first day of the career fair is on Wednesday. It's always been Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Until Sunday, practice as much as you can do in lead code, whatever is your strategy, whatever is your plan. But keep 3 days for the most important things. The day one, write 5 to 10 bullet points for your projects, each and every project, or the work experience or whatever you have in your resume. I've gone as a student when I used to like give an elevator pitch to the people. I've gone as a recruiter to recruit people. And those are the 5 minutes people talk a little bit about their project. And when I start asking deep questions, they are actually not very sure what are they talking about. And that's a red flag clearly. And that happens in every single company. So 5 minutes elevator pitch. Rather start with a 30-second elevator pitch on this, just on the Monday, Tuesday when you're having 3 days remaining for the conference. Just brush up your resume. Prepare a 30-second elevator pitch. And this is the trend I have been seeing. Oh, we are just talking about elevator pitch. This is the last moment thing. No, don't leave it for the last moment. This is the most important thing. Spend at least an hour in framing your elevator pitch. Say like, if I need to describe myself, so very clear objective. Hey, this is Sakshi Dubey. I'm a software engineer looking for this. If you are looking for full-time, hey, my name is this. I have an interest in this position, graduating in this. And then the recruiter will ask you to elaborate on that, then keep elaborating on that, but be very precise. Don't start telling the stories. I'm creating an HTML PowerPoint. I'm working on an ML program which does this. Be very specific so that you can communicate with them in like 5 minutes. Additional thing is this: whenever you're talking about a work experience or project, try to highlight the technology that you have been using. And it's definitely great to know what company does, but I completely understand in case that you have like 400 plus companies, it's not possible to know what every company does, how does it involve. So it's fine, but try to highlight the technical stuff that you have been doing and see what's going on right now in the area. Pretty much, I've talked pretty much about what happened before the conference, but I really want to invest some time in talking about that, what happens during the conference. And since it is virtual, how it's actually gonna impact everyone this year. So I know most of you have been really active in social media. You know how does it work around, and but still I want to reiterate how usually it happens. So until last year, we have like all the participants standing in an open auditorium. Right now, it's going to be virtual. And the career fair starts right at 10 or 9, whichever the time they allot. And at that point of time, the door opens and everybody gets inside. And all the 400 booths of companies are already set up. Considering virtual this time, I'm assuming as you registered at sharp 11 o'clock, there would be some kind of online portal that would start taking applicants, and you will be having like 400 plus companies listed right there. You need to see that which company you want to go first. You will just say you want to go for XYZ company. You'll register, and you'll start the queue. When I say queue when we talk about like in person, we have like booths where as it happens in career fairs, and you make a queue and then you get a chance to speak to that company, and then you go to another company. Something similar would happen, that you will register, you will wait in a queue for 15-20 minutes, and then you get a chance to talk to 5 to 10 minutes, and then you'll join other queues. So the most important thing during the conference is this: how can you ace when there are like 400 plus companies? And many of you have seen my article that I've recommended to make 3 lists of companies: Group A, Group B, and Group C. And when I was going through the questions, someone asked me that how can we find those list of questions? So answer to this question is, first A, if you go to the GHC sponsor website, they have listed all the employers that are coming. And I understand it's like in the form of logo, you really need some kind of an Excel sheet. So I recommend joining the Facebook Grace Hopper groups. There are plenty of people who have been taking initiative to create an Excel sheet. I can definitely provide you the link as well in my Medium blog or anywhere in the social media. Take that Excel sheet and see what is your current objective. Are you like graduating pretty early? Are you graduating in December and you are just in dire need of getting a job, or you have already graduated since it's a tough market right now? Or you're graduating in next May, you have at least some around 8 to 9 months. So my personal suggestion is that shortlist 10 around top tier companies. Could be FAANG, could be the Cali-based company, LinkedIn. Some top companies, the definition of top companies is pretty much similar for most of the people. Shortlist 30 to 40 some medium-based companies. When I say medium, they're nowhere less than or bad companies. They're just good as they are. It's just like, it's not like the very top-notch companies that people are just running about. And then consider the other companies which you can interview in case you don't have any other option in hand. And my personal recommendation is just do all this homework before the conference. Don't even think that during the conference you have the time that you can think, I'll visit this company. Have this thing handy before you go to the conference on day one. My personal recommendation is this: to pursue the tier B companies first. And I know one of you really asked a good question that most of the other bloggers suggest, that pursue the tier 1 companies on the day one. Why I'm suggesting you to switch it. The reason is, and it is a very brutal fact, that you spend hours, days to wait for this conference, considering that you will go this, you'll gain a job, but you just don't get a chance to talk to each and every company. It's just so busy. Trust me, if you're going to a tier one company, you will waste at least 1.5 hours of your day. People does this. People are really want to like go for Google, go for Facebook. It's a good chance, but you need to be really decisive that do you want to just spend 6 companies on day one, or do you want to spend 20 companies on day one? The reason is this. I mean, it is definitely vary from person to person, but usually I recommend pursuing tier two companies on the day one. The reason is this: every company has a limited interview slots, and on day one, if they find the candidates, they keep on filling the interview slots for day three and day two. And yes, we do. If you don't know, Grace Hopper conducts interviews within the conference as well. They do conduct after as well, but it's popular for conducting interviews within the conference, actually just giving the offers in 3 days. Yes, it does happen. It has happened with many people. It has happened with me, and it really happens there. So if you are targeting at least 20 to 30 companies on day one, the chances are higher that you may get some 4 or 5 interviews, and maybe you just get a chance to interact with more people. Because when you start talking to companies on day two, you'll see that people will start us saying that, sorry, our interview slots are already full. Maybe we can check later on your application. So even if you're excelling in your 5-minute elevator pitch, but because their slots are full, you are not being interviewed within the conference. That is not a setback. That is okay. They might consider you later, but they're just seeing hundreds of applications. They might not call you later. So you need to be very decisive that what companies you need to target day one. It depends on every person. If you already have good offers in hand, if you're confident, target high companies, high tech companies on day one. If not, you're looking for if you really want a job, focus tier B companies on day one. Talking about the conference, and before you even start the conference, there is one mistake which people really do. They just spend too many hours sleeping all night just day before the conference, just before the interview. An article, and there is a research on this, that this is a bad thing. This is not actually recommended. The reason is this: your your intellectual, your body is not that active, your mind is not functioning pretty well if you're not taking an 8 hour sleep. So it's very important that when you're having a communication, especially one-on-one with someone, you have a very nice sleep, you are filled, you're not hungry, have a good breakfast, stay hydrated before the conference. And some of you must be thinking it's virtual, you just need to sit in your home, you can just take a walk, you can just be hydrated, it's not a big deal. But I think it does, because when you revolve in that environment, your mind is actually fully functioning as you will be there in an in-person conference. So take your breakfast before that, be hydrated, keep a water bottle, keep some snacks just by you, and try not to panic. I know it will be a big moment for most of you, but just try not to panic, because stay your energy, because it really does not matter much when you're speaking for those 5 minutes that how many lead questions have you done, how much confident are you, how strong is your coding. It's the communication skills that matter. Everyone has something or other thing in their resume. In those 5 minutes, how can you impress the other person that you have some potential, that you can be a potential fit for the organization? So this is something which is really, really important. So I'll jump on the questions first, because we have like 12 minutes remaining and I really want to see your questions that you have listed here. So the very first question which people have been asking me is like, how will it impact since it is virtual this time? Is it going to be different? How does it work? Because it's something new which people hasn't seen recently. How it's going to impact? So the straightforward answer to this, it won't affect that much. The reason is this: if you're talking about an interview and technical process, what they do, they look at your resume, they will ask some few questions, the very straightforward questions. I forgot to mention earlier that describe about yourself, walk me through your resume, be prepared for that, or something like this. Just communicate what you have been talking, and if they find it good, they will let you in. They may consider for your interview. There have been some cons. Some company does offer that they have some small booths around, and they ask you one question and then they'll ask you very basic question, just like a do some problem, or maybe like an small algorithm problem, just remove duplicates, and they will just stand you right next to you and say, just solve this question, show it to us, and in case you are done, they'll let you consider for an interview slot. These things will not be possible during the virtual conference, but I'm pretty sure companies are smart. There's smart people working there. So they must be having some turnaround for this. But just don't panic. How will it work? Most likely, it's just like they will keep your resume on an online basis, and then you'll add up in a queue. They might ask you some theoretical technical question, maybe an oops concept, something like this, and they will decide. But nothing much will impact. One personal thing which can impact is like you might not be able to network, which is very important, but may not be right now because most of you are focusing on career. But in case you go as a professional, the networking is really important. Maybe we can have a seminar next year for that when you all have a job. Going to the next thing, how does it look like? People say, is it like a career fair? Is it like a conference? What are the chances that you will actually get an interview after it? So the answer for this, yes, it's kind of a career fair. It's kind of a huge career fair. Usually when the companies come in your colleges, it's not that impactful. The number of companies are limited and they always have a cap. Usually you see in your school or college's career fair, the turnout rate is very less. If they're checking on 100 applicants, maybe 2 will hear back later that, hey, come on, we want to interview. In Grace Hopper, and it's like a crazy thing about Grace Hopper. They are here to recruit more women. And Grace Hopper, they know that there will be a lot of women, so they try to turn out a lot of people. So if in case they're evaluating 100 applicants, they already have a cap that we want to recruit 100 people out of this conference for sure. So they tend to like interview the people right then, or maybe they need to they shortlist the applicants and just follow with them real quick. The short answer to this question is this: the turnout rate in Grace Hopper is really high than a normal career fair. The chances are pretty high that you will hear a call back with them right in the conference or after the conference. The next question I have in my list is how to assess the company list. I think I answered this question that in Facebook and LinkedIn, you have so many WhatsApp groups, Slack groups. People have formed informal lists, and even they have written that which companies are already contacting. I know there are a lot of recruiters around which have been contacting and asking about their resumes, and they've already started the process because usually some of the companies have already started shortlisting the candidates before the conference itself. It's just like when the conference will start, they already have, some of the slots fixed for the earlier applied applicants, and some of the slots they will fill during the conference. And also I'm seeing there are a lot of questions in the chat window. Don't worry, I'll jump to them as well. I'll cover most of them. Coming to some other questions. So some of preset people ask that, do they ask tech questions on the spot? Yes, they do. They do ask tech questions. They do ask the some coding questions itself. So that is a yes. And before moving forward, am I too fast? Sometimes I hear this too often that I speak fast. Can I have a comment so that I can make sure that I'm not just, okay. People are saying you're good. I just believe so. Thank you. And as I stated, so I see that we have a variety of audience where some people are really naive. They just don't know much about the conference, and that's fine. Ask questions. So I have questions like, do they conduct interviews during the conference? How does the interview look like? And some of you pretty know about how the process works. You just want to enhance your strategy. So I welcome all of you, whichever background you belong to, that you know much or you are still looking for about the conference information. That is fine. Just feel free to ask questions. Just never ever hesitate to ask questions. It is a key for success, trust me. So there is one more question that does everyone get a job? There was some applicant who was very straightforward that I've heard just so much about Chris, but does actually everyone get a job? So the answer is this. I've seen people go to the conference, come back with 3 offers. I've seen people, they go to the Grace Hopper, but they don't get anything from the Grace Hopper. But in the long run, everyone does get a job. In my school time, a lot of people went to Grace Hopper. Some of them got a job right on the spot. Some of them didn't get anything, but they heard something back after the conference. And for some of them, it was a great experience that they aced other conferences, other interviews, and they got it. So no matter how much are you prepared, if you're just keeping your efforts up, you will get a job for sure. It's just like how early, how strategic you are. And I believe that Grace Hopper is really good if you are strategic and you have at least medium command on your technical skills. You can get a job. Yes, at least you can get an interview. Like nailing the job is some to a second extent, but definitely you can get a job. The first and final question, that are the interviews easy in Grace Hopper than a normal on-site process? And this is the question I've heard from many people. So the answer to this is, it really varies from company to company. Ideally, no. Every company has a very good standard. They follow that standard very strategically. They really do not like lower down. The second answer is this. Sometimes it does happen that you do a telephonic interview. That's an entire interview process. They just ask one technical question on the spot and they kind of clear that round. You have 4 on-site loops where you have like 3 technical rounds. You have one system design. Here, they sometimes just reduce to 2 to 3, and system design round is just eliminated because honestly, from the university graduates, they don't expect much. So people are really like worried about working on system design. You should have some knowledge about it, but don't worry. Usually the most of the companies don't ask much about it. So be comfortable. And just one advice for the people who have just starting, not very sure. Don't worry. Even if you start now, you still have some confidence. Okay, and there are a lot of companies which are hiring. I see a lot of questions about this, that how about companies which are hiring? I'm going to the chat questions. So I know like companies, like some people have asked questions about Honeywell as well, my present company. So definitely we have been going to the career fair too. And some people asked about the question about the sponsorship. So it really varies about company to company. I have a couple of friends, their companies are they're hiring as well. So in the morning only, I got an advice from my friend from Dropbox. They have quite openings for security. So if any of you is interested, you can contact, I can give you a link. So as I mentioned, Dropbox is hiring. There are a lot of other companies as well. Just look on the social media, you'll get it. Just quickly scrolling through the chat window so that I can pick some questions from this. Okay, one question about which companies will be attending. As I mentioned, we do have a sponsor list on the page of Grace Hopper. I can also share the list on an Excel sheet. It must be floating around on somewhere on the social media. I'll do that. Okay. Is it bad if I just register for the career fair? No, that's not bad at all. That's fine because the main magic will happen during the conference. So if you are registered right now, it's good. And you're lucky this time the registration is open right now. In my time, 15 minutes and the ticket will over. People will just wait and wait for their ticket because they have so many limited seats, and in 15 minutes the 20,000 ticket will be over. So this year is lucky actually in some sense. Okay, what to exactly ask or speak with recruiters on LinkedIn? Search recruiter with a hashtag of GHC. Write a direct message that I'm attending GHC. I'm interested in a particular company. I would like to interview for this position. Can you consider my candidacy? Don't just write many fancy words. Be very straightforward because recruiters are very busy. They just need to see what you're looking for. And if you want, you should attach a resume. Just search with a hashtag of GHC20 because right now, the people who have been attending GHC, they definitely have mentioned it on their tagline. Okay, should I talk to recruiters from companies that I have already rejected by? If it is already 6 months, you should. But in my personal experience, if you've given an interview within 6 months, they won't let you in. But there is no harm in contacting, but don't expect much. Honestly, that's what I've seen in previous experiences. Okay, I see some experience for the internship. Like if you are sophomore, I think usually they hire juniors and senior, but you can definitely give it a try. I have some more questions. Yes, this GHC resume PDF is really destroyed. Just try to click, paste, and match style. Your resume formatting will be saved. As we are moving towards the end of the session, I wish this session could have been really longer. I would really like to thank you all for attending this session, and feel free to connect me on LinkedIn and ask any questions. One last suggestion: however you're prepared, not very prepared, just be confident during the conference, because sometimes they just ask you what you know, but confidence really matters if you're explaining the things that you know. Focus more on having a quality learning instead of quantity learning. That really helps. With that being said, I'd like to sign off for this session. Feel free to let me know in comments that in case you want to have further sessions like this, feel free to reach out to me for any advice. And I'm looking forward to have a session after the Grace Hopper so that I can learn from your experience that how did it happen to you? How was the experience? Were you able to get your some interviews? Were you able to get a job? Please let me know how it goes around. All the best. Good luck. Thank you.